Hi, you guys. I hope you are absolutely doing super good. This amazing today. If super good is a word, whatever it is, I've heard people say to kind of describe, feeling amazing. Anyway, my name is Selene DC. I am a South African sourcing queen. I am also a related property coach. And today I would like to introduce you to our topic. That topic is, what is property deal sourcing? Yeah, I know it's very basic, but sometimes before we go forward, we have to kind of make sure that the basics we are very clear of. Okay, if you want to hear more about what is property deal sourcing a bit deeply, in relation to, of course, our very normal dreams of financial freedom, please tune in until the end of this video. So, as you can see on your screen, I thought it would be best if we break this down to several points so that we can be able to properly process it. Okay, so as you can see on your screen, there are 4 points. Point number 1, property deal sourcing. Yes, it is a no capital down. Okay, point number 2, it is a no capital down property investing strategy. And then point number 3, a property investing strategy that involves finding and passing off deals to other property investors. And then point number 4, for a fee or a profit. Okay, so you would be passing these deals to other property investors for a fee or a profit. That's how you make your money. Now let's dive into it a bit deeper so that you understand what I mean. When I say no capital down, please note I said no capital down, not no money down. Yes, you are not going to need money for the bond. You don't have to go through your strict, strict budgets like your regular property investors do, where you need to convince the bank that you're a good spender and they can trust you with a 20-year, 30-year bond. Or you don't have to save a lot of cash so that you can be able to pay for renovations or pay for transfer fees or anything like that. But you are gonna need money to pay for operating costs. The very obvious cost is going to viewings. You are going to be going through a lot of viewings as a sourcing specialist, okay? And that needs a lot of money. Gas is very expensive, and if not gas, taking public transport itself, it's also very expensive, okay? So that's why I like emphasizing the fact that it's not a no money down. It is actually a no capital down property investing strategy instead. Now, that brings us to point number 2, property investing strategy. Yes, sourcing agents are actually property investors. I also like to call us sourcing investors or sourcing specialists, or in other words, basically property investors who specialize in finding deals and passing them to the other investors and basically profiting from that part of the process rather than going through the whole process of finding, savings and strict budgets and convincing the bank to borrow money. In other words, buying the property, putting in the tenants, managing the property, or having an agent list the property if it's a flip and waiting until the property is sold, or stressing out about COVID-19 coming back and not having tenants. We don't have to go through all of that. We just need to find a deal, make sure that it's perfect, and then we pass it to somebody, and then that somebody is going to be paying you a nice chunk of money for all that hard work. Okay, so basically we are property investors. It's just that we profit from that tiny step. Now it looks tiny as I'm explaining it, but when you have to do it now, you're going to realize as I give you these kind of videos that it takes way more effort than what we as people normally anticipate. Okay, so that brings us to the third point. This involves finding and passing deals to other property investors. So you may be passing deals because, yeah, you do have money, but you do not want to be risking your money just yet. You're just starting out. You want to get the feel of the market, or the deal which you have found, it's not the one which you want to invest your money in specifically, perhaps. Or you are like me when I got started, you do not have any money at all. And this is your way of raising capital. Okay, so that is another way of doing it. But basically what we are supposed to be area specialists. We're supposed to be so comfortable and know the areas so well that when we structure that packaging, the investor is going to feel like they have been on that area, they have been in that property to view it or anything like that. And we are supposed to have killer due diligence skills. Now, what does this mean? This means basically, as I said, area specialist, to summarize it a bit more. So this, of course, takes a lot of education and training. It goes back to what I said, that sourcing is not as simple as people describe it. There is a lot of training and knowledge that is expected of you from or by other properties investors in between. This goes back to the fact that if you ought to keep the property for yourself, do you think you have digged enough information to be confident that it is a good deal? If it would be a good deal for you, and 5 years, 10 years from now, you have multiple exit strategies, then chances are it is going to be good for the other person. Then you can pass it to that other person, and then the person would actually pay you for all that effort, and they would pay you nice, good money. Now, of course, that brings us to our last point. So when you're passing these deals, you're not passing them for free. Remember, this is your strategy. This is how you raise money for your investments or whatever it is that you want to do. When you find this property, you package it nicely. It's more like you are selling a business idea to a human being. You have to show them projections or different ways they can be able to survive your market's changes or fluctuations. You have to show them multiple strategies or ways of running this business. You have to connect them to people who would help them manage the property, do the renovations for them, and all of those things. And as you can see, it is a lot of work. Okay, and when you pass this deal to this person, they are then supposed to pay you a certain fee, if of course you are sourcing by means of owning a fidelity fund certificate. If you do not own a fidelity fund certificate, then that means you probably would be doing your back-to-backs. Now I'm jumping to legalities, but that is something we're going to talk a bit more the other day. Okay, so as you can see here, you do not have much risk of not having tenants, if it's a rental property, or of not being able to sell it because the market has changed. If you, of course, think if this property is a flipper, it's a flippable property rather, you do not have to worry about all these other stages that the property investors go through. The only stage that you need to worry about is finding property investment opportunities, and of course making sure that the investors you have passed them to, they actually buy them. Okay, so as you can see, it's a very short description yet very long. Other than that, that is it with regards to the video for this week. I am gonna see you next week.